If you've missed any of the earlier episodes of the Great Tastes series and want to see the shows and get all the recipes, go to greattastesmb.ca. Watch them when you want to watch them.
Welcome back to Great Tastes of Manitoba, where tonight we're with Manitoba Chicken and Pantry Plus. So, you know, it's the end of the week, you come home, you're dog tired at the end of the day, doesn't matter at what point in the week, and sometimes you're like, oh, you know, I don't want to have to fuss too much, but you know, dinner, people are expecting something to eat, right? This kind of serves a dual purpose, this recipe, bruschetta chicken, because it's easy, so you can kind of whip it up fairly quick, and you also get to pound the chicken. So you've got some frustrations, you can work it out on the chicken breast. So let's get going on our recipe here.
Okay, so this recipe, as you mentioned, is bruschetta chicken. You take 4 skinless, boneless chicken breasts, and you're right, you do pound them. So I just started by pounding this first one, but it's very easy. You can use the bottom of a small saucepan, or I happen to have a meat mallet, and I like to put it between 2 pieces of parchment
you
or wax
just carry it around
paper.
in your purse? Is that, is that how you roll?
It's a handy one, yeah, especially with my family. I need to do that with my sons.
I hear you.
Okay, so I'm just going to show you how simple it is to pound it. So the reason we do this is it makes the chicken breast nice and thin.
Yeah.
So you have more surface area to season, but when the chicken breast is thin, it also cooks very quickly. And so we have 4 pounded ones that are just starting to cook away.
Yeah.
And so you can see how simple it is to just pound it and flatten it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
And so it cooks faster, and also then, of course, for flavor, it's like, all
because
over
we're
the
going
place.
to season these up, and then there's more surface area for seasoning.
Perfect.
So we've got our chicken breasts cooking, we're browning them, and this is so quick, as you mentioned.
So you said about 10 minutes?
Yeah, it only takes about 10 minutes. So these are starting to brown.
Okay.
And what we're going to do is I'm going to get you to help me out with a very simple seasoning. And these are, of course, seasonings you would have in your pantry.
Pantry Plus.
Yeah, so there is 1 teaspoon of dried basil.
So just all over?
All over, please. Whoa, they're starting to smell good.
Indeed.
And then we've got a 1/4 teaspoon of fresh ground
Am I using this
pepper.
all up?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah, it's perfect. And I'll just start by adding a little bit of that ground pepper.
Ooh, that one got a lot.
Awesome. Oh, it'll be great.
Okay.
Okay.
So now this bruschetta, we're kind of excited about this bruschetta because sometimes we make bruschetta at home, obviously, but you're actually saying that this is something we should really all have in our pantry. Why?
It is now one of my favorite pantry staples. So you can go to where you would find tomato sauce, canned tomatoes, and find something called bruschetta topping in a jar. So every pantry should have one of these. So what I've done is taken a cup of it and I've put it in a bowl because we are going to put that on the chicken breast. So step number 2 is your cheese. We've got a 1/2 cup of a mixed Italian cheese that we're just going to put on those chicken breasts.
So cheese first.
Cheese first.
Cheese first, okay.
And it's going to start to melt. And you know, we finish these off in the oven on the broiler. And again, only about 5 to 6 minutes under broil.
Do I just, ooh.
Yeah, you can
good
just
enough?
add, oh, kids love cheese. And
well, see, this is the thing, and you mentioned, because you have, is it 2 boys?
I do, that's right, yeah.
Okay, I have a daughter and a son, and they, you know, I mean, it's like always, not always a challenge, but sometimes it's like, okay, what can I make that is not going to, you know, raise too many alarm bells, you know, and I think that if you've got chicken and cheese and then, you know, a nice
bruschetta topping. Yeah, you can't go wrong.
I think that's going to fly. I think that's going to fly.
Oh, this flies really well with my 2 guys. And then we just spoon over this bruschetta topping, and this is so easy for us moms because it's all ready to go.
Okay.
So about a cup of bruschetta topping for 4 chicken breasts, and then you just finish these off in the oven.
Right, so 10 minutes on the stovetop, and then how long do we broil this up for?
About 5 or 6 minutes, and once that cheese is all bubbly and melted, it is just absolutely delicious. I love to serve this with pasta or rice, or sometimes if I'm really in a hurry, just some crusty multi-grain bread is delicious.
Well, and you know, the other thing too that I was thinking is like even for like leftovers, right? So like you could, technically you can make like a sandwich out of this the next day, assuming you'd have leftovers, which honestly at this point I'm not really sure. How is that, Gina? How are we doing with that?
That looks perfect, and I can guarantee this is easy and delicious.
It's going to go over well. Okay, so there's actually we've got a couple under the broiler here, so I'm going to grab. And we'll see. I may not, be able to wait too terribly long. I'm gonna maybe have to give this a go right away here. So see, have a look at that.
Oh, those look good.
Have a look at that. Feast your eyes. And there we go. That's kind of the finished product here. So, from using the mallet to this is kind of how things end up. So I'm going to just give this a little go.
Nice and quick and delicious.
Okay.
Yeah, so we often have chicken breasts in our freezer, cheese in our fridge, and then of course now we can have that delicious bruschetta topping. And the reason we like to have it in a jar is because it's less watery than if you make your own homemade bruschetta topping, and it just sets up on the chicken breast perfectly.
Just gonna need a minute here.
Okay.
That is so good. That is so good. And then the kinds of cheeses that you could you play around with that a little bit as well?
Absolutely, you can. Yeah, whatever your favorite cheese is. And this is a great recipe to get kids in the kitchen, get them involved. They can add their favorite cheese, their topping.
I like it. And then the pounding, they would like that as well.
They would.
You know what, Gina? It's so delicious. And I thank you for sharing this recipe with us today. We're going to come back with Aaron Alblas in a minute. I think all the lemons got him on some limoncello. I know a lot of people really love the limoncello. So we're going to be back with our beverage pairings here tonight on Great Tastes of Manitoba.
You're watching Great Tastes of Manitoba, brought to you in part by the Government of Canada and Manitoba Agriculture through the Canadian Agricultural Partnership.